Okay, welcome back. I have spent a deeply concerning amount of time on Netflix, so I could hand you the most twisted, most mind-melting psychological thrillers this platform has to offer. We're talking films that make you question people, question reality, and honestly, question a few of your own life choices. Before we dive in, all stream availability is listed in the first pinned comment below, so check that out. Now, lights down, let's get into it.
One child per family policy.
And making a better future for our children.
Imagine living an entire secret life just to survive. Now multiply that by 7. This movie throws you directly into the deep end with a premise so outrageously wild you'd think it couldn't possibly work. And yet, it absolutely does. The tension is relentless, the world building is bleak and gripping, and the lead performance is jaw-dropping. One actress carrying multiple personalities with this ferocious intensity that doesn't let go. By the midpoint, you're sweating. By the third act, you are completely unhinged. Part sci-fi, part thriller, part please someone explain what is happening. And I mean that as the highest compliment. The movie is What Happened to Monday, and yeah, it happened to all 7 of them.
Don't show you in the nature documentary.
It's a warning.
We shouldn't be here.
4 guys, 1 hiking trip, a shortcut through the woods that absolutely no one should have taken, and that low, creeping, stomach-dropping feeling that something in those dark trees is watching. This film weaponizes that primal dread and holds it against your throat for the entire runtime. What makes it hit differently is that it's not just about a monster in the woods, it's about guilt and grief that these characters carry before anything supernatural even shows up. The Scandinavian wilderness setting is cold, vast, and absolutely not on your side. Folk horror meets genuine psychological tension in a way that will make you never want to take a shortcut again. The movie is The Ritual. Don't leave the trail. Ever.
All right, tomorrow night, you, me, party.
On paper, this sounds like a cheesy horror flick. In reality, it is one of the most delightfully unhinged, wildly entertaining things on this platform. The premise is essentially Home Alone if Kevin McAllister had a legitimate reason to be terrified. And that's all the plot you're getting from me. What I will say is that it moves fast, it's gory without being gratuitous, funny without undercutting the tension, and it has this very specific 80s paranoia throwback energy that feels completely intentional and completely works. The lead babysitter performance is magnetic in a way that makes everything that follows land even harder. The movie is The Babysitter, and B is gonna live in your head rent-free.
Do you know what it means?
What does a person become when all the normal rules disappear? This film asks that question in a post-war Japan setting so cold and atmospheric it practically has its own pulse. Jared Leto is doing something genuinely interesting here. A character who barely speaks and communicates almost entirely through presence, navigating the Yakuza underworld with this quiet, calculating calm that is either brilliant or maddening depending on your mood. It's slow burn, it's moody, it's a Norm meditation on identity and belonging that gets under your skin in a quiet, persistent way. Not for everyone, but for the right viewer, it's completely absorbing. The movie is The Outsider, and outsider is very much the right word.
May I present Mrs. Danvers?
Welcome to Mandalay.
Gothic romance, obsession, a house full of secrets that breathe on their own, a dead woman whose presence looms larger than every living person in every room. This film is absolutely drenched in atmosphere. Every frame feels lush, heavy, and slightly airless, like the past itself is pressing down on everything. The psychological manipulation at its center is handled with slow-burning dread and real confidence. You will be invested. You will be frustrated on behalf of the protagonist. That frustration is entirely intentional. Proof that psychological horror doesn't always need jump scares. Sometimes the most terrifying thing is just how people treat each other. The movie is Rebecca, and she is everywhere. Hey, halfway point. If you're enjoying this list, do me a quick favor and hit that subscribe button right now. Tiny click, huge deal for the channel. Tap the like button too and let the algorithm know psychological thrillers are what the people want. Okay, back to the movies. Let's go. What if the scariest thing wasn't a monster, but your own mind? your own memories, the possibility that everything you think you know about yourself could be rewritten by someone who knows exactly which buttons to push. This film takes that fear and runs with it into genuinely disorienting territory, wrapped in a hazy, dreamlike quality that makes you uncertain about what's real, which is entirely the point. It's weird and strange and a bit of a fever dream, and it commits so fully to its own strange vision that I can't help but respect it. The movie is hypnotic. You might need to watch it twice to decide how you feel, and that's kind of the whole point.
Help! I'm lost in here!
Did you hear that?
There is a field. The field is very tall. People go in, people do not come out the same, if they come out at all. Based on a Stephen King story, this one understands that the most effective dread dismantles your sense of reality rather than just throwing something scary at you. Time loops, space warps, rules keep changing. It's bleak, committed, and suffocatingly strange in ways that linger after the credits roll. Not everyone will vibe with it, and honestly, that makes me love it more. The movie is in the tall grass. Do not go in the grass. I cannot stress this enough. A home invasion thriller that is not really a home invasion thriller. This one opens with a premise that feels familiar and then uses that familiarity to pull you somewhere far more psychologically interesting. The suspense is quiet and domestic, the kind that lives in small looks and half-answered questions, and the growing sense that the people you trust most might be exactly who you should fear. The atmosphere it builds is genuinely suffocating, and it will have you looking at your own walls a little suspiciously for days. The movie is Intrusion. Yes, I double-checked my door locks afterward.
Give me the glass.
This is all wrong.
Let me help you.
A psychiatrist, a patient, a connection that goes much deeper and darker than any professional relationship should ever go. This slow-burn psychological horror thriller works on multiple levels simultaneously, and the layers keep peeling right up to the final moments. What makes it stand out is how it handles trauma as a wound that leaves you open, something that can be exploited in ways you don't even see coming. The lead performance carries the film through genuinely difficult emotional territory without flinching, and the dread builds from a quiet hum into something overwhelming. The movie is clinical. Go to therapy, but also watch this movie first. And here we are, number 1, The Quiet Devastator. Two friends, a hunting accident, a small rural community where secrets have nowhere to hide, except they do hide, and the hiding is what destroys you. This is a film about guilt, the terrible accumulating weight of it, the way moral compromise doesn't happen in one dramatic moment, but in 100 small choices, each one worse than the last. No jump scares, no flashy tricks, just relentless atmospheric pressure, and two lead performances so raw and committed that you feel every beat of their unraveling in your own chest. It is the most effective slow burn thriller on this entire list. The movie is Calibre, and this is the one I'm telling every single person I know to watch. You're welcome. And I'm sorry. That is your list. And next up, we're going somewhere way more fun. We're talking about the movies that are objectively a mess, but subjectively pure gold. The guilty pleasures. Click it, you absolutely know you want to. Subscribe if you haven't, like this video if you love the list, and I'll see you for the next movie night.